Howdy y'all, Morgan here. With me I've got two copies of Final Fantasy VI for the Game Boy Advance. One of these copies is real, one of these copies is fake. At the end of this video, I guess should be better at identifying fake Game Boy Advance games to hopefully help you guys build your collections even easier. So let's take a look. At a high level, you might not notice any differences between the two labels. And that's where it's especially important if you're looking for specific games, especially higher dollar value games that you know are counterfeited, to make sure you learn what the official labels look like and any little details that they sometimes get incorrect on the replica, reproductions, counterfeits, whatever you want to call them. The only really standout out some of the detailing we're going to talk about is that the rating on the right cartridge we can see is E10 and up, and on the left cartridge it has just E, which with the official release of Final Fantasy VI, at least in the North American regions, is going to have the E10 and up. Other things you can see on labels sometimes will be dead giveaways, like they'll have misspelling, or might even have Nintendo spelt wrong. One of the giveaways you can use if you're buying online and you have a good quality picture of the cartridge are going to be these little embossed numbers on them. I've yet to see a counterfeit copy that has that. The other thing you can kind of tell, and it's hard to see in the video, is there's a sheen. That's maybe more of something you can use in person, but the label is going to be more reflective here on the authentic copy. If we compare it to the counterfeit copy, you can see that this looks a lot more like it was just kind of printed with an inkjet. But again, in an eBay scan or something like that, you might not be able to tell, and that's where some of those other visual cues can come into play. Some cartridges will have issues with the backs. This is a very good reproduction. It's a recent one. I ordered off of AliExpress. You can see the printing's very clean. There's no Nintendo or any of those other things you may have seen in videos. Even if we look at the front of the cartridge, the Game Boy Advance is almost stamped clearer than the authentic copy of Final Fantasy VI here. But again, that's not always going to be the easiest giveaway. And cartridges are going to vary sometimes in that kind of boldness depending on when they were manufactured in the GBA life cycle. If buying games in person, this is going to be your best ally in your search. It's going to be a tri-wing screwdriver. If you also collect for other systems, you're going to want to get the game bit you use for Super Nintendo. Those two will take you a very long way. There's a slightly larger game bit used to crack N64 systems. But the tri-wing, especially if you're a Nintendo collector, is going to be a must-have along with the smaller security bits. And these sets are all over Amazon, AliExpress, eBay, you name it. They're very easy to track down a set of. Why you want one is so you can actually open up the cartridge. So let's take a look. So first on deck, we're going to open up the authentic copy of Final Fantasy VI, and these will be some of the giveaways that you can kind of look for with any real cartridge. Not all, because again, some vary. But you're going to see things more aligned to this. You're going to see a high-end printed circuit board. You're going to see actual chips in the board, and you'll notice what I mean by that when we take a look at the counterfeit piece. You're going to see actual chips in the board. You're going to see Nintendo clearly printed there. Again, look out for misspellings, things like that. This is going to be pretty typical of what an official Nintendo cartridge should look like. Again, some may have batteries, some may not, depending on where in the life cycle. And even some games can have various PCBs with different versions, which some have batteries, some don't. There are databases online, and that's really where you're going to want to familiarize yourself if you're going to be collecting for Game Boy Advance, is to really know the board. And now for fun, we're going to open up the counterfeit cart. And you're going to see the telltale signs of just about every counterfeit cart you'll see, regardless of platform. And that's going to be the best way to tell. And if you're ever unsure, you're looking at something and you don't have the board, this is what you're going to want to look out for. So here it is. And we can already see that the spell check went out the window. We have this was made by Nehelhedi. But again, if you were just looking at it through the kind of the cartridge on the bottom, which I know some people do, you might think that says Nintendo. Can't really get a good video of that, but really the dead giveaway that you're always going to have is going to be this glob right here. That's going to be an epoxy chip. So instead of a formal produced ROM chip, they've used basically an epoxy chip that's been kind of put there on the board. and I'm not aware of any Game Boy Advance games that utilize an epoxy resin of that nature. So if you see that, obviously if you see Helen-D, that's going to be a giveaway too. But these epoxy blobs are something to kind of keep an eye out on. It can be one of your easiest ways to kind of tell counterfeit games in general. This is where you cannot overestimate the value of a good PCB database. There are quite a few on the internet. I'll add some links in the description as well to help you out. But that's going to be your best bet, so that you can tell this from the real board that you're going to want to have for your collection, especially with Final Fantasy VI. I feel this card's only going to be going up in value in the future. I hope this card helps you guys, and in no way am I, necessarily saying I'm against the reproduction market. I obviously have a reproduction copy of an authentic. I think it's great if one of my kids wanted to try the game or something like that, especially with a $50 Game Boy Advance game. There are definitely uses, but obviously make sure the biggest thing is to help protect you guys. I don't want you guys being taken advantage of by unscrupulous dealers or, eBay people selling them for inflated costs. Obviously, most of these counterfeit copies can be purchased directly at a substantial savings versus eBay. If you just use AliExpress yourself, you have to wait a few weeks, sometimes a few months, but you can get a lot of games cheap if you're in that sort of environment as far as collecting going and just want the reproductions for that physical, tactile feel. Buy direct and save yourself some money when all you're doing in the end is really kind of buying a reproduction anyways. Hope you all enjoyed the video and learned some things. Certainly like, comment, subscribe, and certainly don't hesitate to reach out to us on Instagram as well. We'll have a shortened video of anything we put on YouTube. Will also appear there as sort of a bite-sized piece.